your note too. Thank you. Okay, we'll begin. It's 1:02, so thank you. Mentioned if you will drop your name and your position in the chat, that would be great. Want to welcome you all to the Ag Issues committee meeting. For those that may have be longer in your career, used to remember that we had these committee meetings as part of AMPIC. But now the last few years we've been doing these before we get on site over Zoom. So appreciate all of you that are able to get on here today. The agenda we put together real quick, I'll go over that and know that the agenda, the slides, as well as the list of those folks that are going to be presenting this year at this year's conference are all in the calendar invite on Microsoft. So you're able to download this and have those at your disposal. But I first thought we would start with the introductions, and we'll go around the horn for that. And then we'll have a welcome and comments, some updates from our esteemed council chair, Colt Knight. And I also see that maybe our vice president is on here as well. I think I saw that as well. And then we'll go through our committee charge, talk about some of the goals and plans from last work. Do want to mention about the NACA AMPIC, have a slide on that, just because it is a little bit different, not from a Sunday, Thursday approach, but a Wednesday to Sunday approach this year. So just reframing our mind that, yes, the conference will look as normal, but the things and activities that we're used to are going to be on different days. And then we'll do some planning for next year for 2026, 27, and then, of course, open it up for any other discussion that we have. First, I want to introduce to you the national leadership. In fact, I think I'll just go around the horn and to see who's here. But I'm David Marison. I'm the national chair. I stepped into this role last year, partway through, I believe, the year because Connie Strunk moved into position, or maybe it's been 2 years. I can't remember now. But this is the end of my term as the Ag Issues chair, and I will be rotating out of this position. So it's hard for me to see everybody, but is Donna on today? Donna, are you on?
Yes, I am.
All right. Will you introduce yourself, Donna? Now I'm
Um,
getting my screen set here.
okay. Donna Oftenberg, horticulture specialist here for the Southeast region of Missouri. Just general horticulture and North Central region vice chair.
Thank you. And I see Emily.
Hello, my name's Emily Fred. It's like bread with an F. I'm a dairy educator in Pennsylvania, and I'm the Northeast Vice Chair for this committee.
And then I'm checking to see if Mackenzie is able to be on today. I don't, I'm not seeing everybody's name, but I don't believe so. And always last but not least, it's just the way that we roll, MJ.
Hello, everyone. I'm MJ Fisher with the University of Idaho. I am the Central District Director here in Idaho for Extension, and I am the Western Vice Chair for Ag Issues.
Great. And you can see the terms. Last year we reported that the board adjusted a few terms. One was Emily's term, and then MJ had re-upped last year to put two of our vice chairs on. They were, I think, actually at one time all four, because of some things that happened, were on the same rotations schedule. So those are balanced out now. And I see, Colt, you put on your camera. So if I could have you introduce yourself as our council chair.
Colt Knight. I'm the state livestock specialist for the University of Maine, and I am the state president for the Maine Association of Extension Agents. And this is my last year as Extension Development Council chair. So,
And we'll have you say a few words here in a bit. And then I believe, is Tyrone still on? Or did he go off? He knew I was going to go to him, so I think he flipped off. But uh, Tyrone is our vice president, national vice president, was on there for a second. Okay, so we'll move to the next one. And Colt, might as well leave it for you. Any welcome or comments that you want to give? And I also believe you might be running for a national position now as you close out your term as council chair. Maybe you want to talk about that as well. And you
I've
are,
been I've been up underneath my F-250 all morning long redoing the brakes and ball joints, and I've got some lot or anti-seize on my hands, and it's not working with my touch screen on my iPad here, so I was having a hard time doing the unmute button. But now I would like I was saying earlier, this is my last year as Extension Development Council chair. I've had a ton of fun getting to know everyone and really appreciate all the hard work that the chairs and vice chairs have been doing in the Extension Development Council, and David has done an excellent job as a Ag Issues chair. So we're looking forward to the future leadership of this committee, and I haven't sent out the emails yet, but they're going out this afternoon. But I can go ahead, and that's my baby making all kinds of racket in the background. But I let you know that Emily Fred will be our new Ag Issues National Chair. So really happy to have
Okay,
her come
nice.
aboard. Of course, that's pending delegate approval at the AMPIC. We always have to put that disclaimer in there, but and then Heather Schlescher is going to be coming on as Extension Development Council Chair. So really excited about all that stuff. Since David mentioned it, yeah, I'll be running for vice president of the National Association this year, along with my friend Ashley Wright, who's running for treasurer. And looking forward to seeing everyone at the AMPIC this year. Denver's going to be a good time. And I can turn it back over to you, David, so I'm not taking up all your meeting
all
time.
right. I appreciate it. And you may have to jump in if, as we get into talk about the AMPIC, if there's any updates that you have or see that we want to talk about. Quite quickly, just the charge of the Ag Issues Committee. There's three councils, and we are under the Extension Development Council as this committee. And our charge is essentially to help NACA members identify, define, and address any of those issues in agriculture that impact the sustainability of their ag operations in their area. So, and I think you'll see that reflected in some of the presentations that we have. But before we go into our goals and plans of work, I'm going to stop the share so you can actually see each other a little bit better. But I wanted to go around the horn and just have each of you introduce yourselves and what state you're from, because we do want this to be a meeting where you're able to participate. So I'm going to do the horrible calling across the screen, but I'm going to warn you that you're next up. So I'm gonna start with Paul, and I'm just gonna go like Hollywood Squares on my screen. Paul, I'm gonna start with you, and then Don, way out in the West Coast, I'm gonna go to you next. So Paul, I'm gonna allow you to go first.
I am Paul Geringer. I'm a faculty member at University of Maryland, and I am the Maryland chair for this, Ag Issues Committee.
You wear a lot of hats over in Maryland, don't you, Paul?
I do.
Okay, we're gonna go
Don
to Don.
McLaurin, Director, WSU Skagit County Extension in Washington State, and the Chair of Ag Issues for Washington State.
Great, thank you, Don. And next, we're gonna go to the boiler up. We're gonna go to Valerie, and then I think then we're gonna go to Sarah Richardson. So I'm gonna go to Valerie in Indiana.
Okay, so Valerie Klingerman, I'm the Ag and Natural Resource Educator in Knox County, and I am the state chair for Ag Issues.
Great, super. Thanks, Valerie. Next to Sarah Richardson.
I'm Sarah Richardson. I'm a commercial horticulture agent in North Carolina covering 3 counties.
Okay, and as you guys are doing this, I'm capturing your names. Okay, and I see it as Tally, so I'm just gonna throw it there.
Chris Talley, area agronomy agent with Clemson University, president of South Carolina Ag Agents Association.
Great, glad to have you here, Chris. And then we're gonna go to Lindsay, and Lindsay, I don't see your last name, so.
Yes, I'm Lindsay Arthur. I'm a county agent in Kentucky. I'm the Ag and Natural Resources agent in Bourbon County. Hope everybody is going to be watching the Derby tomorrow. We're getting geared up for that. And I'm also the state chair for this as well.
Okay, I just learned something new. I didn't even know there was a county named Bourbon County in Kentucky, so that is pretty slick. Next we'll go to Shelley Mills.
Hi, I'm Shelley Mills. I am the Ag and Natural Resources Agent in Valley County in Montana, and I am also the state chair for Montana.
And a lot less work this year, Shelley, for you.
Yes,
It's one
I'm
of those
happy.
great years, right? Okay, we're gonna stay here in the state of Ohio. Ed Brown, and then Leslie, you're on deck.
Ed Brown, I'm the Ag and Natural Resource Educator down here in the southeast part of the state in Athens County, and I'm the state chair for Ohio.
Thanks, Ed. Leslie, and then we'll go to Jason. Okay, I'll say that. Oh, Leslie, sorry, I just saw your chat come through. No microphone, so we'll come when you get your microphone issue fixed. Let us know, Leslie. Okay, Jason, we'll go to you.
Hey everybody, I'm with UMaine Extension. I'm a sustainable ag educator and I support the maple industry statewide as well.
Great, thanks. And then Emily, um, from up in Wisconsin. Right, Emily? There you are.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Oh crap, I was so close.
That's what I was like, I think it needs me.
Sorry about that, Emily.
That's okay. I'll try not to take it too personally, David.
Yeah.
Happy Friday, everybody. Emily Kruckelberg. I use she, her pronouns. I am based in the great state of Minnesota. I am a farm safety and health educator working statewide. I am also our state chair for agricultural issues. And I also am a part of the planning committee for AMPIC 2027. So we're really excited to see you all in St. Paul in September 2027. It is beautiful here in September. So yeah, just had to put a shameless plug in there, and we hope to see you in Denver as well at our hospitality suite.
Great. Matthew Anderson next.
I'm Matthew Anderson, and I'm here with the University of Alaska Fairbanks.
I think you might be the first Alaska person that's been on our Ag Issues meeting for a while, so great to see you, Matthew.
Just here to learn.
That's amazing. That's great. Okay, now we'll go down to the south, Elena Rogers.
Hi, everyone. Elena Rogers. I'm the state chair for Ag Issues for North Carolina. And I'm a food safety area agent. And it's great to be here.
Great. And we'll go to William Price.
Yeah, Will Price. I'm in Northeast Oregon. I'm a range and livestock county faculty. I'm currently the Oregon president and our state chair for the Ag Issues Committee.
Great. Nice to have you on, Will. And okay, so now I'm going to test my limits here as far as who did I miss? I think did it.
David, I had to jump off for a second. My power cord didn't last.
We thought you were swooping and moving on us, Tyrone. So yeah, if you want to introduce yourself, that's great. Our esteemed vice president.
I'll start off. Do not use your phone charger to charge your laptop. It won't last during the Zoom. Just let you know. So I had to go find my laptop power cord. Tyrone Fisher. I am the North Central District Director in North Carolina. I have roots in Louisiana. I am your vice president for NACAA and loving and hear everyone's committees and what's going on.
Great. And Teresa, did I miss you, Teresa? Crook from Michigan, and it looks like she might have had the same issues that Tyrone had. She jumped back off. So, and then Leslie Johnson is here, but her microphone's not working from Nebraska. And did I get everybody that is on board today? Great. So it's great to have all of you on for today's meeting. So I will go back to my share screen so we can continue to roll through. So I did the charge and want to just kind of recap because we want to have some good discussion as we go. But to recap some of the goals that this committee pulled together last year. So what I did was list them on the screen. I'll take a peek to my right screen here. But first was to host a committee meeting in December, and one of the goals last year was that our national. So what I did was I tried to bold the ones where I knew that we effectively met that goal 100%. So the second one was national leadership will engage with state chairs at least once quarterly. That I don't know if we accomplished, but felt like we did have some more engagement throughout to our state chairs. And the third one, which has been our primary focus, has been soliciting and reviewing presentation abstracts for the Professional Improvement Conference. I have an update for that. We did that once again. Last year, we hosted an NACA 365 webinar on one of the ag issues that was talked about. Last year, it was the Farm Bill, and we were thinking about one of those webinars too. And just today, or maybe yesterday, they just passed out of the House finally a Farm Bill. We'll see if it gets through a very divided Senate, but that could have been a webinar, but we've been waiting on that Farm Bill. Explore the possibility of a super seminar. We aren't hosting a super seminar, but I am going to share the ones that were accepted at the conference for this year. Of course, host a national committee meeting in May, which here we are the first day of May, and then conduct those as we move into the summer. Of course, conduct the presentations in Colorado and do some evaluation of that. And one of the goals we had put on to explore conducting a needs assessment for membership on ag issues. So some of those might be able to be good placeholders as we move forward to the next year. As I said, I want to say a few things about the AMPIC that's coming up in Colorado. I think all of you have seen the registration material that has been sent out, and hopefully each of you have had the chance to register. But again, I just wanted to reemphasize that this is a Wednesday to Sunday program, not a Sunday to Thursday program, but back to the full scope of days as we go to Colorado. Dr. Temple Grandin is going to be the keynote there on Wednesday. And then where in the past, these are just more reminders that States Night Out and Scholarship Auction will be on Thursday. The big day for this committee will be on Friday, and I'll share those presentations. Most of our presentations, 10 out of the 12, will be held on Friday, and then 2 of them held on Saturday. Now, there's a whole host of those super seminars that will be held on Saturday, July 11th as well, with the DSA banquet on the 11th on Saturday, and then the tour day will be the final day of the conference, which will be on Sunday. So a lot of folks will be traveling in Wednesday and then back out then on that Monday morning after the tour day on Sunday. So I don't know if Colt or Tyrone have any more updates as far as the conference. It's all under one roof, under one hotel. So don't know if there's anything that anybody else, Tyrone, that you wanted to share.
I would just advise everyone not to take an Uber from the airport. There is a train, $10 one way. And once you get to the Union Station downtown, there's a bus that would drop you off right at the hotel. If you do an Uber, it's going to cost you probably about $60 to $70 one way versus a $10 train. It is safe. It is I want to say it runs all day. Help me out, Code. I want to say it runs all day and all night, but it is based on a train with several stops, and the last stop is in Union Station, downtown. You walk out the front doors of the Union Station, and there will be a bus to the right on the next block, and you catch it going north, or actually going south to the Marriott. So,
And you
but
can
other than
see
that,
the train station from the hotel. It's not like you're very far.
yeah.
And that bus he's talking about, those are like electric shuttle buses that run constantly up and down that one street. There's like a main drag in front of the hotel.
Yep.
But yeah, I think my Uber was $68 plus tip when I was there in December to get from the airport to the hotel.
And the airport was built in the 90s, way out away from downtown. Now the downtown is the whole city of Denver is grew to it, but you have to see out there it's still a good ways to downtown Marriott. And so
Yeah, it's
definitely
about 45-minute trip on Uber. How long was it on the train?
train was at least 30 probably. Maybe 25 to 30 on the train. So the airport is known for being larger than San Francisco city limits.
And it's a big airport, but a beautiful airport and real good transportation to the downtown area. So good. Any other comments on the AMPIC as far as the national board is concerned?
Everything's in order. You got great leadership in Coach. Coach has been on point with some of the room assignments and logistics. We've been heavily involved, and so definitely they looking forward. It is a new adventure going over the weekend. They've had some challenges, but they are addressing them. But definitely, we're back to probably where we were before in previous meetings. One hotel, same schedule, like David said, just different days of the week.
Make sure you're following your app this year because you can't wake up and think, oh, it's Thursday and this is what I usually do. I want to thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate that insight. And I see that you got the question that was put in chat, so that's great. Wanted to briefly share about the presentations that were accepted. We had 17, actually we had 18, and then another committee stole one of ours. It accepted that presentation into somebody else's, which was fine, but we had 12 that were accepted, so we had 12 spots that were provided through the room assignments for our committee. And each committee was tasked with picking their top 12. If they felt like they only had 10, then there were spots that were given to other committees. But ours, we accepted 12. We reviewed those, and the score sheet was there. We had a 70% acceptance rate. I don't know what the overall acceptance rate for the committee was, but the 70% acceptance rate is pretty close to what it was last year. It was pretty similar. Mentioned just as few as far as the keys for acceptance. This is probably one of the most diverse committees as far as the types of abstracts that are submitted, because just the Ag Issues Committee in itself is a broader type of committee. So that's why you'll see a lot of diversity within some of the topics that are submitted into this committee. Of course, the heavy emphasis on how is that abstract written, because that truly is how we're judging, is the depth that you have to your abstract. And would just again encourage folks to look at the abstract scoring sheet that is published on the NACA website, talking about what are the components of good abstract. And there is a rules on the abstracts that is written in one paragraph. You have up to 350 words to share your story. So I don't think we ever have, I think we had one that was at 349 words this year. But for most of the abstracts, there's probably 100 unused words that could better share the story that you're trying to provide for acceptance. So thinking about that abstract, using the 350 words, and of course, some of those keys is what is the longevity of the program, and what is the so what is the impact? And then I think even more importantly, when you're looking at these abstracts is there a point within the abstract? How would you share the applicability to another county agent across the country that might learn something from your presentation and then be able to take that back to their home state? So think about that as you write your abstracts. Overall, we were pleased. There was a real strong effort under the council chairs. Kudos to Colt and the other council chairs about having more emphasis on providing written feedback to everyone who submits an abstract. So the score sheet was tweaked, and we were trying to provide some of those written comments so you understand what the judges were looking for as far as when they've reviewed your abstract. So hopefully everyone received those. I know in the past there were some committees that wasn't providing that feedback, but this year I think it was across the board. People were receiving that feedback. So hope that you can take that feedback for future years. Know that our presentations, we are going to be in one room. So we're not worried about moving rooms for ag issues. I want to share you kind of the schedule that we have. Again, I'm not going to read these to each of you, but give you the chance to look at these and just say that Friday's our big day for ag issues. We would hope that any of you who are state chairs across the country, when you're there, to come visit and to sit and introduce yourself to the national vice chairs and then sit in on these workshops. So we're going to be Friday morning from 8:30, starting at 8:30 through lunchtime. Notice that there is a break for everybody from 10 to 10:30. These are in half-hour blocks, so most of our presentations, the goal is to have them in that 20-minute format, 5 minutes for questions and 5 minutes for rotations. It's going to be pretty easy to get from room to room. So that is in the morning up until noon. And I see Madeline from Iowa jumped on. Madeline, good to see you. It's one of the presenters. And then the afternoon, we start at 1:30, done at 4, because there's evening events. There's the big, I believe that is the night that we go off-site. So there's a big event that night. So we're going to wrap up shop by 4 o'clock. So Friday afternoon from 1:30 through 4. And then we're going to come back and finish the day. Saturday is a big day for super seminars, but all of our committees had an hour block there that we could have 2 of our presentations, and we put 2 of our presentations there on Saturday, one on the agrivoltaics and then on the AI applications in ag. So that's going to be on Saturday morning. So we have 12. Hope that you will look at those abstracts and then hopefully attend some of those. And I want to mention the super seminars, because when you do sign up for your registration, each of you have the opportunity to attend a super seminar. Now, many of these, of course, pivot into the ag issue space, but using drones and crop production, the agronomy committee, the farm bill recap, which now that there's heightened discussion in the farm bill, that might be even become more of a need to go kind of seminar, that super seminar that's going to be there at the AMPIC. So farm bill to front porch. There's a couple, and that should say native plant. Sorry, I made a typo there. That's native plant master, how Colorado works with native plants, not native plant. And there's actually an introduction to beekeeping for the cooperative extension agent there, as well as some sound advice from our Teaching and Educational Technologies Committee on how to do podcasts. So those are going to be on Saturday. I didn't mention, of course, the trade talks, but if you can't find some education at this AMPEC to take home to steal to your county, then I don't know where you're going to find that at other professional improvement conferences. So this is pretty packed full. Okay, with that, I want to take time for last year. We did a round robin, but one of the things that the board asked us to do is look at some goals and plans of work for the new year. Know that our committee has a budget up to $1,000 for committee expenses. And then, of course, if there's any feedback that you want the vice chairs and myself to take back to the board for recommendations for improvement for the committee for future AMPICs, we'll take those recommendations as well. If there's any items that we need to take up to the board, we're able to do that. So I'm going to stop share again, if I can find my toolbar, and I will find the toolbar. And I want to kind of open up for, there we go, discussion. As we look, there's 2 things that I really want just to have a few minutes of discussion, and that's, you can discuss one of 2 ways. You can either unmute yourself and chime in. We'll take some notes, or you can drop it in the chat. But the first question, and this is how we started last year, I thought it would be a great way to start this year, is what are, and maybe we'll start this way. We'll rapid fire. This is where you chat extraordinaire, and then we'll open it up for discussion. I just want you to give a couple thoughts on what are the most crucial emerging ag issues in your state that you can share so we can take a look at what are maybe some issues that this committee, as they make the plan of work for next year, can do. So I'm going to stop there and okay, Leslie. Thank you, Leslie, for kicking us off. Now, Shelley, great. I'm just gonna throw. Oh, yeah, I knew Ed. You should say that one. We'll give you a few seconds to drop those in, and then I'm gonna come back and we'll review this list as a group. One thing, Scott Hawbaker, I know you're listening in, but if you could send me the chat log when this program's over, I would appreciate that.
Oh, well.
That way, I would appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start reading down through these, and then as you think of there's some other ones that you want to throw into the mix, maybe this will get the juices flowing as far as some of the issues. Again, because these are issues that this committee could look at addressing. So we have wildfires. Shelley, you mentioned water, and I'm looking to see, I want to know if Shelley, I'm assuming that is a lack thereof water versus too much.
Yeah, just declining water resources availability.
Okay, so we're as it's raining here, we're getting in the Midwest has gotten hammered here the last week. Ed Brown, my colleague here, data centers is near and dear in Ohio, top of mind. And Colt, I see actually solar farms. Okay, Colt, my brain's in a fog. IMO.
In my opinion,
And I'm too old I would say in my humble opinion, solar farms are taking over actual farm ground, data centers. You also, Paul mentioned data centers. Technology, and especially Emily, thank you for the use of artificial intelligence. Emily, you just heard the big seminar at ERMI, right, on AI. Data centers, saltwater intrusion, encroachment on crops. Sarah, remind us what state you're from.
North Carolina, down here on the coast.
Okay, great. Dawn, farm suicides. Dawn, are you seeing that at all levels? Are any different age group that you're seeing on that?
Yeah, it tends to be older farmers that have kind of lost the farm and don't have a real meaning for life anymore. So it's really sad.
And I know you're doing a lot of work in this area, right, Dawn? You're doing
I am, yes.
you're doing a tremendous amount. Commercial solar farms. Valerie, what state are you in again?
Indiana.
Oh, yeah, we're neighbors. That's right. So we definitely are feeling the same thing, right? Indianapolis and Columbus are one and the same. Seems like data center, solar farms, AI. Thank you, Madeline. Elena still loss of ag and the urban rural interface and disaster preparedness due to the weather. Farm transitions, Tyrone size of solar farms, um, suicides in dairy farming, and I don't know how many of you are in the 4-H space as your side hustle or your added other duties as assigned. But here in Ohio, just the amount of teenage death by suicides that um, are happening, sadly. We had one here in our local school just last week. All things water, cost of production. Jason, thank you. Fuel, I was waiting for the first person to talk about tariffs. So Jason, you get the award there. Um, Solar farms, cost of fuel, fertilizer, and tariffs. Very top of mind there. Yeah, Emily, it's sad, isn't it? Other issues that you're seeing. Okay, I'm just going to pause there, let you ruminate. as a good cow will do, ruminate on this a little bit. Are there other issues? Really, really nice list for you. No one said farm bill. Why not? Is that because the House just passed something? Okay. So that was just to get your juices flowing here as far as agriculture issues. So now as I'd like to take you to translate that into the plan of work or goals for the committee for next year. And again, this is trying to get your input from the state level to the national level to say, hey, Ag Issues Committee, as you put your plan of work together for the new year, what are those things that we as state chairs and state presidents and folks from across the nation, what would we like this committee to concentrate on after we get all the presentations done and all that at AMPIC, and then we move into the new year? Thank you, Madeline, for the cost of production and profitability. So I'm not going to have you chat this time. I'm going to just pause and let you unmute yourself and say, well, this would be my preference as far as what would we put in a plan of work as a committee for goals for next year. Because really, I'm just looking at Emily now. Surprise, Emily. And the vice chairs as they go forward to next year and as they work with the new council chair as well.
Well, cost of production and profitability, I think, are going to continue to impact our farmers in at least the next couple of years. So if there are some ways that we could help them manage, that would be great.
Thank you, Madeline. Do you have what would be a good measurable as far as a thing that you would like to see this committee say? How do we address cost of production, profitability? What is one way that you could foresee the committee moving into that space?
I'm not really sure, but I'll just share an idea. One thing that we've been thinking about is developing some cohorts, because then they can learn from each other, and it's also more of a social support. So it gets to that mental health issue too, because the low profitability and the mental health issues kind of go together. So it's not a solid idea, but just sharing a few thoughts there.
So are these more like, Madeline, like peer groups, or is this more like the old style of the Farm Bureau, and what I would say the Farm Bureau councils where we had people meeting as 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 managers, or how are you guys going to do that?
More of a like of a peer group, and like a group that is, meeting like on a monthly basis, even if it's virtual, checking in, doing some group learning. So more of a peer group.
Reactions from
Maybe there are some great examples in extension out there that Iowa and other states could look at.
This is Emily from Minnesota. As we kind of think about that, farm profitability topic, and David, you mentioned ERMI, so now I have that on my mind. And my colleague and one of our fabulous economists at the Center for Farm Financial Management did, kind of a double session at ERMI on that exact topic, especially on how, extension and ag professionals can assist farmers who are dealing with those types of issues, So, right, as I just think about something actionable we as a council can do, right? Maybe it is, next year bringing Kevin in for a super seminar. Conveniently, it'll be in his backyard, so we could probably get him, right? So maybe, right, like again, thinking of something actionable. Since you also mentioned, right, like we aren't doing a super seminar this year, so I'd really like to see us do one next year, just as its own goal. And perhaps one about this type of topic as we continue to face this uncertainty would be good.
And I sat in one of those, half of his. So Kevin Clare, that Emily's talking about, Kevin Clare from University of Minnesota, and I just opened up my document because I put it in my report from being there. Did Approaching a Farmer in Financial Trouble. So they did a two-part series on how do you help farmers approach financial trouble, but kind of, I think you could unpack that in multiple ways, right? For a super seminar. I love, and and then any other, I have something in my top of my mind, but I don't want to taint so yeah, Madeline, it's perfect sense to engage the Farm Financial Center while we're definitely in Minnesota. That's very low hanging, easy accessibility for the folks there. Emily, thank you. Thank you, Madeline. Other thoughts?
We had a panel at our leadership conference last winter on kind of the struggles in the farm economy right now. And it was very well attended and appreciated by our audience. And so each panelist really brought a lot of experience. We had lenders, extension, others. They brought a lot of experience to this whole idea of what do you do when there are financial struggles. So they gave a lot of concrete, practical steps that people could try, and we approached it as come to this session and help your neighbors in trouble. So we were trying to because it was a farmer audience, we were trying to kind of minimize the stigma of attending this session. So it was a good session.
Back to Madeline's original thought about cost of production peer groups. How many of you, this is just for conversation's sake, how many of you are in a peer group now that you meet with peers over an area where you meet a couple times a year peer to peer? And then maybe my second question is, how many of you help facilitate peer groups within your county for a certain subject matter?
I run an organic dairy peer group with a bunch of Amish farms in my area, but I myself am not in a peer group.
Ed Brown, I saw you put a thumbs up. I saw it. Talk to me. Do you do
Yeah,
some peer groups?
we do. Well, we have a regional working group with our ag natural resource educators that we meet quarterly, and then I have a grazing council that we meet monthly with our area grazing council.
Great. My own, as I'm thinking in the brainstorm here, I was thinking, is that something that the ag issues could address to say, how do you do peer groups effectively to be able to engage? Because some of the other technology that you're talking about, AI, some of the things that we're talking about is the connectivity of people, human to human. And is there a way that Extension can continue to be in that space of human connectivity in a time of high technology is that something that would be worth the committee looking at peer groups, the use of peer groups within their community, or even professional to professional? Just throwing it out there, just as food for thought. Okay, and I know Leslie can't talk, so Leslie, put in the chat box, I don't do peer groups yet, but several of our educators are trying that method of reaching farmers. Jenny, okay, Reese, and I believe Leslie, she's like our North Central director, maybe, for North Central for NACA, maybe, is she? She's done with soil health stuff and other topics. So thanks. Okay, so you saw the list that you generated. Other items that you, as the state folks, say we want the ag issues team to push into for the new year.
David, this is Elena.
Hi,
Um,
Elena.
hey, sorry, I'm driving, so but I have a comment on that. Like, I do feel like the peer, sort of what you were describing, okay, and I definitely work with many, actually multiple groups at the, state at the national level, and we meet like weekly, monthly, and then have groups of growers here that we meet with. I do feel that part of your career comes with time and comes with experience, right? And there's definitely, I would say, for younger new agents, like that is like, I feel like a fantastic topic, um to help them, right, to groom them, to give them that confidence, because certainly you will have to do that in your extent if you take extension as a career. But I just want to kind of go back to the question you asked us earlier, what are the most pressing issues in your state? And I do feel like, for example, I know about, like, right, we see data centers, we see, I mean, again, like, I use the example that North Carolina, their number one problem is like the loss of ag land, which many, right, we've experienced all over the country. This is not the first time we're dealing with this, but we are growing. It's a state that's growing so fast that you're now seeing the pressure. So some of it is because of data centers, some of it is because, again, like solar parks, there's multiple reasons. But I feel like as an extension agent, growers come to you and they want to have a better understanding, right? That you might be the only source of unbiased about what's good, what's the bad, what's the ugly, what are the, what are sort of the long-term consequences, right, of different land uses and the loss of ag land. And so I would hope that some is there, not just say data centers, right? Not just, but I don't know if there's a way to analyze or to look and bring some experts to kind of give us a little better perspective, right? Of what does this do to a farming region, Is it good? Is it bad? Is it, I mean, obviously people don't like it, so how can we how can we be better informed to have when we have to have those conversations with our growers?
And how to have those effective conversations with that, whether it's like, if I summarize, Elena, whether it's solar, whether it's
Yeah.
fighting over water resources, whether it's data centers, like we're seeing the loss of urban land for the next Amazon warehouse. Like, I know around Indianapolis, it's completely different from when I lived in Indiana, as far as just half that farm ground has gone now into those big warehouses just for our Amazon fix, so that the package can be there the next day to us. That means it's got to be somewhere for those warehouses. So, and so what I hear you saying, Elena, and make sure I'm paraphrasing this right, is this is more like, could we take the overall broader topic? How do we deal with those emerging issues like solar data, and data centers? And then how, as an educator, how do we position ourselves to help our communities why we're maintaining our unbiased approach. Did I?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
yes. Just the one thing is like it may not necessarily mean that you're gonna go and do a program, right? It's just like so that you're better informed, so that
Yeah.
you can kind of help guide, if you work with your local farm bureau, right? And they're trying to get an opinion as to, hey, is this good, bad? What are some
Mm-hmm.
things we haven't thought about? Everyone talks about water use, and I mean, certainly water availability. And so you have these other, new users that are major water users. So you can look at it from water that's not going to agriculture versus, so there's just like I just feel like as ages, how can we be better prepared to just be able to address that with our constituents?
Great. Great. Other thoughts?
Kind of piggybacking off of her. The other thing, because I've done a lot of research on this because we're in the middle of a big ordinance change and things like that for solar too. So we've been in the crossfire, but so yeah, my understanding, like I've done a lot of research, but like I still feel like I don't know if I'm fully knowledgeable or knowledgeable enough, in some of the stuff. But another thing that I've always thought would be useful if I knew this and could help my farmers out too would be like navigating those contracts and like reviewing them to make sure that, there's solid plans in place, whether it's decommission plans or, like things like that for the solar type things. And like just reviewing contracts, like reviewing contracts 101, like what do we need to be looking at in those to make sure that it's not, that pretty much all the bases are covered and at the end of those contracts, the farms aren't going to be, having issues.
And I would say doing that in the context of not being practicing attorneys at the same time. I see Paul, so I always think of attorneys when I'm looking at
Yes,
Paul.
yes. No, but
But
just giving guidance to our farmers saying, hey,
yeah,
here's things that you need to look at, figure out how to get it worded correctly, use your attorney to word it, but like here's things that
yeah,
you need to make sure are covered.
yeah, helping them
Yes.
so that they become better informed about the issue. Yep, great. Oh, and Paul's talking in third person. Paul will will hopefully have a large extension pub on that by the end of the summer. So a good place, Valerie, to check into. I know our folks here at Ohio State have some solar resources as well, so that could help. Some states have the luxury of having a Paul. For us, it's like a Peggy that's able to help with that. Security, thank you, is still a fascinating issue in other states. Thank you. Madeline, thank you. Other thoughts? Because as a good moderator here, I'm going to tell you we have 5 minutes left because you have to stretch and go on to your next meeting here. Or maybe MJ is probably going to go get lunch, him and Dawn. Or you're not halfway through your morning break probably. So other thoughts as far as issues and oh wait, MJ's got his lunch right in front of him. He's already eaten it though. He ate his lunch for breakfast. That's my biggest danger, eating lunch before halfway through the morning.
Still an hour to go here in Washington.
Still an hour. Other thoughts? Um, if not, so I wanted to use that 7-second pause there. Make sure. If not, what we'll do, like what we did last year, was we kind of just summarize these things together and let the chairs from the regions take a look at it as we put them in, and then can put into some action items for next year as the committee moves forward. Lots of hot issues out there. Love some of the input that we have here. So if there's, as you ruminate on this and think about this, if you have other ideas, you had that introduction to your region vice chairs. So as state chairs and other folks, whether you're president or not, if you have thoughts and want to give it to your vice chairs to include into the notes, we would appreciate that for sure. It's just because we have 2 minutes left here, I want to remind you to put on the dates for St. Paul, Minnesota. As Emily said, that's going to be September 12th through the 17th of 2027. So if you haven't put those dates on your calendar, you can do that. Then the next year will be Atlanta, Georgia, August 6th through the 10th. And then we're going to come to the great Northeast in Hershey, Pennsylvania for the chocolate, and September 17th through the 20th of 2029. So you have your 3 years of your next conferences. I am not privy to the discussions of where 2030 will be, but I know those discussions are being had, I'm sure. Tyrone, you have something, don't you?
Yes, we're looking at August 2030 for Raleigh, North Carolina.
Going back to
Unofficially.
North Carolina. Good deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Unofficially, Raleigh, North Carolina 2030.
Of course, subject to
Yeah.
delegate approval. So that's always the saying in NACA.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I appreciate each of you taking a little bit of your time here on the first day of May to come together to talk about ag issues and that across the. And I don't know, Colt, if you have any thoughts or any other closing thoughts. I just want to say thank you to all of you for what you do out there across the state, across the regions, especially the vice chairs and that. So, Colt, you have any final thoughts, or you're good?
I do not.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for being on. Appreciate it. And special thank you to Scott Hawbaker. Scott's the one, our NACA executive director, who, for those that have served on the board and that, you know, Scott does a whale of a job. He's amazing. So thank you, Scott, for setting up this Zoom call for us and getting all of this coordinated behind the scenes. We appreciate everything that you do for our organization. Yeah, and love to see the claps. So, all right, appreciate everybody on. And I hope you have a great month of May, a great month of June, and we will see you in Denver, Colorado in July. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, it will be great.